Accra, Liberia's capital, Pleasant. Good evening and welcome to Fugan News World. 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, holding our one world. My name is Lyndon Toba, anchoring the segment of news presentation. Coming up in the headlines, President Bouaka tells diaspora Liberia's recovery demands patience, unity, and results-driven leadership. House Committee praises Finance Ministry on compensation of families of nickel Avanga victims. EPA secures 100,000 high-tech analyzer to boost Liberia's climate and blue carbon research capacity. NAFAD unveils new headquarters, staff boss, and Liberia first semi-industrial fishing vessel Sea King. And away from Liberia, Hamas denied receiving new Gaza ceasefire proposal ahead of Trump Netanyahu meeting. These plus many more development in our package. We're taking a short break. Upon our return, we bring you our news bulletin. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. Musa Sharif with our news bulletin. Good evening, Musa.
Good evening, Lyndon. President Joseph Bouaka has addressed Liberians in the diaspora, saying his administration inherited deep-rooted national challenges that cannot be solved overnight. He made the remark at the first Liberia Annual Diaspora Conference in Washington, D.C. President Bouaka noted that multiple institutions were underperforming, the economy was weakening, and the national security framework had deteriorated significantly before his Unity Party-led government took office. Despite these challenges, he expressed confidence that the administration can reverse the nation's course through deliberate actions and a strong commitment to transformational results. He urged diaspora Liberians to remain supportive, emphasizing that meaningful change requires time, clear strategies, and unity across all sectors of society. The House of Representatives Committee on Claims and Petitions has held a hearing with families of victims of the 2021 MV Nico Avanka boat tragedy. Families appealed for compensation promised to them, citing the several hardship endured since the incident, and reminded lawmakers of a Senate report recommending 20,000 per victim. In response, the committee instructed the chief clerk to write the finance ministers, ensuring the payments are captured in the 2026 national budget. Committee Chair Prince Toast extended condolences on behalf of the House and pledged to push for relief for the grieving families. The Environmental Protection Agency has received an elemental analyzers worth 100,000 from the International Atomic Energy. The donation part of the IAEA's RAFOS regional project strengthening Liberia's capacity in blue carbon research and climate change mitigations. Official says the analyzer will help scientists study mangroves and wetlands, proving accurate data on carbon storage and accumulations rate. The initiative supports Africa's plan to establish 5 laboratories for blue carbon assessment by 2026, following a merchant meeting in South Africa. EPA boss Dr. Emmanuel Urit Yakpaoro, joined by the board and senior management, received the equipment with backing for President Joseph Bouaka. The National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority is rolling out major projects to boost Liberia fisheries industry and to improve staff welfare. At its September staff meetings, the Deputy Director General for Administration, Augustine Monoba, announced progress on 4 Flowers multi-purpose headquarters, with designs nearly complete and construction set to begin in January 2026. It also revealed that Liberia's first cement industrial fishing vessels, the Sea King, will arrive in October, expected to increase local fish production, reduce import and create jobs. NAFA further disclosed that its first staff boss will be be delivered next month, while senior officials highlighted advances in fisheries governance and aquaculture development. In recognition of service, sanitary inspectors Mace Nilens of Rabat International Airport was named Employee of the Month. NAFA says these efforts mark steps towards a sustainable and inclusive blue economy. The Ministry of Public Works has announced that the environmental and social impact assessment for the Gantar Saklepiot Highway has been approved by the African Development Bank. According to the ministry, the approved paves the way for rehabilitation works on the key corridor in Nimba County, with procurement and technical arrangements now being finalized. Construction is expected to begin during this dry season. The ministry reaffirmed government commitment to improving roads, boosting trade, and easing travel for citizens nationwide. Deputy Minister Daniel Sanu has dismissed claims by NEMOT Executive Director Edie Jawolo that President Bouaka is constructing a $10 million presidential valley. Speaking on local radio station, Sando clarified that the project is a Mana River Union initiative, noting it will proceed regardless of Bouaka's presidency. He acknowledged Jawolo's respected status, but stressed that his statements should accurately reflect the facts. Sando added that Jawolo's remarks appear amid adjoint comparisons between former President Wia's condominiums and the ongoing presidential complex. The acting Deputy Minister for Sport Development at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Alfonso Belle, has highlighted the new national service program launched earlier this month. In an interview with ELBC, Minister Belle said the initiative was established in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and carries a $1 million budget over 12 months. The program aims to mentor and build the capacity of 5,000 young people annually. Bella explained that the program consists of 9 projects, including Rosa Brushings, Back to School Initiative, WAS tutorials, opportunities for college graduates, small skills grants, cleaning exercises, and youth literacy. He added that the program targeted 48% men and 52% women, underscoring government commitment to gender equality. Liberia Senate Pro Tem Yombli Kanga Lauren has pledged sweeping reforms to empower the diaspora with voting rights, public office eligibility, and greater economic influence. Speaking at the 2025 Liberia Diaspora Annual Conference in Washington, she said the Senate is ready for actions, not promises, on long-standing diaspora concerns. Senator Kanga Lawrence outlined a proposed diaspora engagement ad, which includes support for dual citizenship, advisory councils, tax incentives, transparent investment channels, and stronger oversight of ministries serving Liberians abroad. She also stressed accountability skills achieved and land protections for returning citizens, while announcing the creation of a Senate-led diaspora caucus to ensure sustained legislative engagement. The speech warmly received highlighted the diaspora 300 million contributions to Liberia's economy, signaling what she called a historic shift from token gesture to genuine national integrations and development partnership. Former Bon County District 5 Representative Edio Kafia has called for urgent economic reforms to tackle Liberia's rising inflation. Kafia urged legislators to hold the finance minister accountable, ensuring that investment targets productive sectors that stimulate growth and reduce inflation nationwide. He attributed high inflation to Liberia's over-reliance on imports, which negatively affects the trade balance and undermines efforts to build a self-reliant economy. Kafia highlighted rice, petroleum, and flour as major input, costing the country over $200 million annually, depleting resources and weakening Liberia's financial position. He recommended policies promoting imports, substitutions, and local job creation as sustainable strategies to curb inflation, boost productivity, and achieve long-term economic stability. Unity Party Chairperson Luto Tape says flourishing the CDC from power was a patriotic duty while predicting brighter days ahead. He hailed Unity partisans for their resilience and assured that President Joseph Bouaka and the party have not forgotten their efforts. Tape contrasted past and present leadership, citing the 16 billion missing saga and emissions bill by the former president versus Bouakar's Open Southeast Road. He noted that metro governance improves the country, pointing to reduce drug trafficking and efforts to redeem young people from addiction. Tapet added that while some former ministers faced sanctions for corruptions under Bouakar leadership, anyone attempting wrongdoing is promptly disciplined. The Liberia National Police has announced the first group of 45 beneficiaries of the LNP Koteto University Scholarship Program. The recipients include LNP officers, civilian staff, and members of the Liberia National Fire Service. In a press release, the LNP described education as a powerful tool for transforming policing and public safety. The statement emphasized that fostering learning and personal development will help cultivate a new generations of security professionals whose knowledge and integrity will strengthen their service to the nation. The LNP hailed the initiative as a significant step in rebuilding the security sector with bright and capable minds, where education and service go hand in hand. Lofa County District 1 Representative Thomas Fala says he is stepping away from party politics and has pledged to support the government's agenda. Representative Fala described himself as an objective and independent political thinker, noting that this does not prevent him from backing leaders or policies he believes in. He expressed support for President Bouakar's agenda and policies, stressing that his commitment goes beyond words to include practical steps towards implementation. Highlighting more than 20 years of experience in national governance, Representative Fala said he is not just an ordinary lawmaker. He recalls serving both in oppositions and ruling positions, adding that those experiences have shaped him into a more balanced and independent political actor. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says it remains committed to engaging Liberians abroad in support of national development. Over the weekend, Foreign Minister Sarah Beslo Yanti addressed the Liberian Diaspora Annual Conference in Washington, D.C., where she called for unity, reconciliations, and shared prosperity. Minister Yanti announced a partnership with the Kingdom of Morocco to establish a diaspora database to track the skills, locations, and contributions of Liberians worldwide. She also highlighted Liberia's historic election as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council for the first time. The foreign minister urged Liberians abroad to work with the government to build a stronger nation for current and future generations. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency says it is committed to educating students on the dangers of drugs and substance abuse through its ongoing awareness program. Over the weekend, the LDEA Prevention and Community Outreach Session conducted school-based sessions at 4 Median Christian Academy in the Oro community, aimed at sensitizing students on the harmful effects of drugs. Chief of Prevention Grace Morbad and her theme caution that substances such as kush, tramadol, and marijuana not only damage physical and mental health, but also hinder academic performance and future opportunities. The outreach officers encouraged students to make positive life choices, remain focused on their studies, and serve as ambassadors against drugs abuse in their schools and communities. The agency stressed that the initiative is part of its nationwide Say No to Drugs campaign designed to strengthen awareness and resilience against substance abuse across Liberia. The Civil Service Agency says it viewed with grave concern report of planned nationwide go slow by faculty members at public universities and colleges. CSA Director General Josiah Jokat has urged all faculty to remain calm, exercise restraint, and continue teaching without interruption. He reminded civil servants that grievances must be addressed through the proper redress channels outlined in the CSA Human Resource Policy Manual and standing orders. The agency further warned that any instructor or professors who abandons duty or fail to perform responsibility will face administrative action under civil service regulations. The CSA emphasized that the continuity of academic activities is essential and called for the cooperations of all public universities and colleges. The Ministry of Health says it is expanding the West African Health Organization health centers in the Tiwa District, Grand Cape Mau County to improve healthcare access in the region. The ministry noted that along with Wahood, it conducted a joint site supervision on Sunday to assess progress on the project. The expansion will include a new maternal and child birth unit with an operating theater trash area, waste management system, generator, and a 25 VA solar system.
A reminder that you are listening to Focal News World, 30 minutes of news presentations about Liberia, Africa holding our one war. A recap of major stories we are following on this news presentation. President Joseph Boakai tells the explorers Liberia's recovery demands patience, unity, and result-driven leadership. House Committee praises Finance Ministry on compensation for families of Nico Vanga victims. EPA secures 100,000 high-tech analyzer to boost Liberia's climate and blue carbon research capacity. NIFID unveils new headquarters, staff, boss, and Liberia first seamen industrial fishing vessel, Sea King. And away from Liberia, Hamas denied receiving new Gaza ceasefire proposal ahead of Trump-Netanyahu meeting. Let's take a short break. Upon our return, we bring you the voices of those making the news. Welcome back, and thanks for rejoining us on this presentation. Acting Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Alfonso Belli has announced a $1 million budget for monitoring and capacity building targeting 5,000 people each year. According to Minister Belli, the program was established by the Ministry of Youth and Sports in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance. He noted that 48% of the beneficiaries will be male and 52% female, underscoring the government's commitment to gender equality.
The National Service Program will launch it on the 17th of September. We were hired by the Ministry of Youth and Sport to run that project. It's a government project within the budget of 2025. Ministry of Youth and Sport and Ministry of Finance developed that project to build the capacity to mentor and to provide for mostly youth. So the National Service Program in the budget is a $1 million project to run for 12 months on an annual basis to provide for about 5,000 mostly young people across the country. So within the project, we got about 9 components to deal with. And the thinking is we expand the project between 2025 and 2030 to provide for over 25,000 mostly young people. But every year, our thinking is to ensure that we provide for 5,000. The concept of our project is we do 48% men, 52 women. Why? Most of the programs we tend to tailor are women training programs. For example, the youth literacy. Most of the people who drop out of school at elementary, junior high school are mostly women. Yeah. The summer skill grant, mostly women. So our project is following the national service, the national kid. People who are at the disadvantaged level, at these levels are almost women. So we're going to do 52% women and 48% men, and mostly youth.
Have you thought? Acting Youth and Sport Minister Alfonso Belli speaking on new capacity building program. Former Liberian President George Weah says divine timing and his wife advice may have spurred their family from tragedy. Speaking at his Fokwicklon Family Fellowship Church on Sunday, Mr. Weah revealed that after returning to the country, his wife suggested they spend the night at the rehab residence instead of their Nashtree home in Cinco. He disclosed that around midnight, he received a shocking call from his Nashtree home was on fire. We express gratitude, saying, "Glory be to God."
We got here, the West said, today you and I are sleeping in rehab, whether or not. And I agree with her. The say you don't need to say A. Anywhere you want to see, you want to go, I'll follow you. I wanted to know Chito and I follow. And my son with me at 12, up to 12 midnight, someone called me, our house burning on that street. When I say to God, glory be to God, they would have been worse. That is
Former President George Weah is speaking at his Focus Family Fellowship Church on Sunday. Former Bone County District 5 lawmaker Edward Kafat is urging lawmakers to pressure the finance minister to prioritize targeted investment to tackle Liberia's rising inflation. Kafat blames high inflation on excessive imports, particularly rice and petroleum, which caused the country to over 200 million, worsen the national trade imbalance.
I think they are trying, they are doing their best. The only thing they need to do is to actually hold the finance minister accountable to make sure that he invests in the economy and spend the money in sectors that will spur growth and reduce our inflation, because there's too much inflation because we are not producing more. So your trade balance is actually negative, meaning you're spending more outside than the one that comes in. The amount that comes in is less than the amount you send. I think for West, for example, you spend what, 200 million on rice. How many income do you take that will give you what, 200 million? Petroleum, and you name them. Flour, this one. So import substitution should be a strategy to lower inflation from the double digit to a single digit. And that could be in the form of local job creation, but not at the expense of quality. Like we're talking about people saying that steel and all that. The steel here is substandard. They are not, the quantity and quality does not match. And
Former District 5, Bone County District 5 Representative Edward Kafat is speaking. Liberia Senate Pro Tem Yamlikanga Lawrence has announced reform to grant diaspora citizen voting right, eligibility for public office, and greater influence in national economic and policy decisions. She emphasized that Liberian diaspora is more than its source of remittancy. It is a reservoir of talent, investment, advocacy, and patriotic commitment. Speaking at the 2025 Diaspora Conference, Kanga Lawrence highlighted a shift from symbolic gesture to actionable policy, recognizing global Liberians as key partners in Liberia's development.
And champion a comprehensive diaspora engagement agenda rooted in appropriate legislation, oversight, and national unity. This includes passing the Diaspora Engagement Act to institutionalize dual citizenship rights, establish a Diaspora Advisory Council, supporting fiscal incentives that will remove barriers to diaspora-led investments, including tax reforms, ensuring accountability through public hearings, budgetary provisions, and performance audits on diaspora funding, advancing education and skills transfer for legislating university collaborations, and incentivizing the return of diaspora professionals, strengthening legal protections for returning diaspora Liberians, especially on land rights, establishing a Senate-led diaspora affairs caucus, reviving constitutional and electoral reforms, clarifying the eligibility for public office, championing national unity and reconciliation by promoting inclusive dialogue.
The voice of Senate Pro Tem Yamlikanga Lawrence speaking at the annual Diaspora Conference held in Washington, D.C. Lofa County District 1 Representative Thomas Pala says he has stepped aside from party politics and is now supporting President Joseph Boakai national agenda. Fala described himself as an independent thinker, but emphasized that his neutrality does not stop him from backing government initiatives that benefit the Liberian people. With over 2 decades in national leadership, he pledged to turn words into action, using his experience to help drive government policies forward.
This is the right path. I'm going to support this movement. I'm going to support this regime. I'm going to support this government. And I'm not a party president for now. No, I'm not a party politics. I'm an independent and objective free thinker. So notwithstanding being objective, being a free thinker politically, it doesn't negate the fact that I have my right to support whatever I want to support. So I support His Excellency Joseph Boakai. I support his agenda. I support his government, his policy, and I'm going to help to drive it. And that's why I'm not just saying it, but I will get involved. That's why you see my involvement everywhere he goes. Mind you, I come with 20 plus years of experience in national governance. So Fala is not just an ordinary guy. I managed, I tasted the level of opposition for 12 years. I managed, I tasted the level of ruling position, and now I do know my position. I'm fitting.
Deputy Speaker Thomas Falade speaking. President Joseph Boakai told Liberians at the Diaspora Conference in Washington, D.C. that his government inherited serious challenges that cannot be faced overnight. He cited failing institution, economic decline, and weakened security as a major obstacle requiring deliberate, result-driven solution from a committed leadership team. Boakai called for diaspora support, assuring the attendees that with unity, strategic action in time, Liberia's path to recovery and sustainable development is both achievable and realistic.
Fellow Liberians, we have indeed come a long way, and if we are honest with ourselves, we inherited a country that was facing far more problems than we could resolve overnight. Institutions were operating below their optimal levels. The economy was faltering, security had broken down significantly, and the overall mood and the challenges we face as a country can be overcome when we are intentional in our resolve to reverse the past. By doing so, lyrics in the glorious land of liberty shall long be ours, will be real.
Liberia's President Joseph Boakai speaking in the United States of America. Let's go over to Musa Sherry to squeeze in our international details.
Hamas has denied receiving any new proposals from mediators regarding a ceasefire in Gaza, the group said in a press statement on Sunday. Hamas said it was willing to consider any proposal presented by the mediator positively and responsibly in a manner that preserves the national rights of the Palestinian people.
This is how we come to the end of our newscast, but before leaving you, a recap of major stories we have been following. President Joseph Boakai tells Diaspora Liberia's recovery demands patience, unity, and results-driven leadership. House Committee praises Finance Ministry, a compensation for families of Nicola Vanga victims. EPA secure 100,000 high-tech analyzer to boost Liberia's climate and blue carbon research capacity. Now Fight unveils new headquarters, staff boss, and Liberia first seamen industrial fishing vessels see Kane. And away from Liberia, Hamas denies receiving new Gaza ceasefire proposal. Ahead of Trump Netanyahu meeting, Musa Sherry brought to you the news bulletin. Teta Rabba serves as control and coordinator all of our sign. On behalf of our entire news team, I present them. My name is Lyndon Tuba.